Hello, my fabulous friends. For those of you who don't know, my name is Cassie, and today we're going to be doing some watercoloring using the new Polkadoodles Zodiac collection. Quick disclaimer, I do design for Polkadoodles, so this image was sent to me for free, but I am doing this video on my own, not for work. This is a digital stamp, so I have printed on some printer paper, and I have transferred it onto watercolor paper using a light box. Unfortunately, my printer does not like watercolor paper, so I have to do this extra step. I'm now taping the watercolor paper to my board. I normally paint on a flat surface, but today I decided to try painting on an angle. So I have my board attached to a tripod that has a ball head so that I can adjust the angle of the board. I have a small selection of watercolors that I will be using today. I will list all the colors that I use down below. I have some clean water, a mixing plate, a rag to dry my brush on, as well as a paper towel, and a variety of small brushes, the largest one being about an 8 round. I also have a few scrap papers from when I cut down this original piece of watercolor paper. I use these to test color mixes and color blends, so I can see what they will look like before I add them to my project. I'm starting out with some Quinacridone Lilac from Daniel Smith. And I'm adding in just a little bit of Phthalo green, also by Daniel Smith. This is the blue shade. And I'm going to create a variety of mixes using those two colors. I want the shell to be a gradation of colors, but I also want to keep the color scheme fairly simple and harmonious. I'm starting with a blue-green color up at the top of the shell and working my way through purple and into pink. At this point, I should have stopped and let it dry, but I kept messing with the colors, trying to get more blends, and I eventually ended up losing most of my pink. Wanting to get some deeper colors in that top part, I mixed in a little bit more Phthalo green into my mix to add in some swirls and some shadows. I'm also adding some shadows wet into the other parts of the shell to start defining the different sections. Because the paper is still wet, the shadows will be soft and blend. I also want to add in a bit of a highlight, so I'm taking a clean brush and pulling off a little bit of the color in my highlight areas. At this point, to force myself to stop messing with it, I sprinkled some table salt onto the watercolors. This can leave behind some really fun textures. You do have to wait for it to dry naturally. I've sped it up in the video so you can watch the magic happen. Now that the shell is dry, I can move on. I am going to make sure that there is no salt on my paper though. For the body of our crab, I am using Quin Lilac and transparent Pyrrol orange to get a nice coral color. Using the same lilac color to mix the shell as well as the body helps unify the image and helps the shell look like it belongs with the body. My original plan was to keep the body very, very light, so I started with a wash of water and then dropped the color into that. I added a little bit more lilac to my mix where I wanted the shadows to be. I'm making the antennae a little bit darker than the body, but using the same mix so that it blends nicely. Jumping back to my shell for a minute while my body dries, I mixed up a dark blue purple with the Phthalo green and Quin Lilac and filled in the shadow of the shell. I'm also adding in more definition to my shadows. Moving back to the body, I am adding in more shadows. For the starfish, I'm adding Quinacridone Gold to my palette and mixing that with a little bit of the body color. And a light wash of the shell color for the lip of the shell. At this point, I start using the shell colors mixed with the body colors to create custom shadow colors. While this is sped up in the video, I was taking time to step back and look at things as they were drying to see where I needed more contrast to define the shapes. For the mouth, I'm painting in a solid line of dark color. And then I'll get the brush wet and I will soften out the bottom edge of that line. So the top edge of the lip remains defined, but the bottom fades into shadow. For the shadow colors on the star, I'm just picking up some of the shell colors and adding tiny bits to the yellow. I'm mixing together colors that are already on my plate to create a new blue color for the eyes. I'm switching now to a very tiny brush and some black paint. I'm adding in some black lines to form the base of the eyelashes. I don't want solid lines outlining the eyes since nothing else is outlined, but I do want a base for the eyelashes to sit on. I'll continue using the tiny brush and the black paint to add in the pupils as well as the eyelashes. I wanted to give this crab a bit of a water fill, so I'm mixing up a very, very watery wash of blue using the colors already on my mixing plate. I'll roughly protect my image with a paper towel and add in some splatters. For the ground, I'm starting with a wash of buff titanium. This is a gorgeous sand color. Adding into that wet wash, I'm going to add a little bit of that blue we just splattered. I'm also going to introduce some Moonglow into my shadows. I love using Moonglow in shadows because of how the paint separates. It always creates interesting shadows. I'm using a little bit of titanium white gouache to add the highlight back into the eyes. Using my very tiny brush, I'm adding some speckles into the head, then softening them with a paper towel. I love the moment when you get to pull the tape off. Here's our finished painting. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. It helps my channel so much, so thank you. If you want to see more videos, go ahead and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram. I will have the links in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.